often tell my daughter that she also loves to shop for clothes and everything. And so I'll tell her, and she'll come, mom, I've got this, this is a beautiful dress. I said, okay, do one thing. Put it in the cart for 2 days. Okay. And 2 days later, if you still think that you'll want it, then go and purchase it. And most of the time, she's even forgotten about that she put something in the cart. So it's a lot of impulse purchases that we land up doing as people. A person who doesn't understand money or doesn't understand finances doesn't come from a position of choice. They feel dependent because they don't know it any other way. They don't know how to manage money. They don't know what to do with the money. But once you become knowledgeable, you become aware, you come from a position of confidence to say, I can handle it. I understand what it is. And it's my choice that person is doing it for me because I'm doing something else. And that's a huge difference from a feeling of, dependence and giving away because of a lack of choice.
So hello everyone, and this is a very, very powerful podcast. Please stay tuned, especially women, because I have a very dynamic soul here who is working relentlessly to make women independent in their thought, in their process, and in their monies. So welcome, Meeta. You are that person who runs a venture called Moolah for women. And Moolah is a very powerful term. We are all seeking Moolah, we are all running after Moolah, and we are also getting a lot of freedom from Moolah, when we have a lot of Moolah. So more power to you to create financial literacy, financial independence, financial topic, which is such a taboo topic still, to make it more real for women. So Meeta Gupta, you are a person who's a coach on financial literacy and financial independence for women, right? And I think this journey also started when, all these journeys start when we feel something which got missed in our life. At least that's how Second Act started for me. And I know that, reading about you and knowing about you, the journey started for you as well. So welcome to Second Act Podcast. Thank you for your time to join from Dubai. And I know that you're doing some incredible work. So why don't you introduce to people who are hearing us in your own words?
Superb. Yes. Thank you so much, Archana, for having me here on Second Act. And I am truly delighted to be a part of this podcast. And so, yes, thank you for this honor. To briefly tell you about myself, it's an interesting thought that where should I introduce myself from? Life's been a long journey. I am basically a finance professional, a corporate banker, a wholesale banker, a person who's done project financing for the longest years of my life. So probably 25 to 30 years of my life, I worked in corporate jobs. And about 6 years back, I shifted to Dubai, chasing my husband who got a job in Dubai. And that was the same time my daughter had left for the US. And so since I thought that 3 people shouldn't be living in 3 different geographies, I decided to, kind of step down from my very active corporate role and shifted to Dubai, thinking that there's something that I'll, kind of reinvent myself when I come to Dubai and do something. So yes, that was me for the longest time. And while I was doing my corporate job, I also remembered that, I also, for me, it was very important that I wanted to give back something to the society. So I always thought that, what should I do to be able to give back to the society? I'd taken enough already from the world. And though I knew that I wanted to do something for the society, I did not know what. And that was something which was a question in my head for the longest time till Moolah in some way happened, which is what I currently do. Apart from of course, we will talk about Moolah more as we go along, but apart from what Moolah and Meeta are, I am a mother to a daughter who is 25 years old. She's currently working in the US. My husband, like I said, is working in a corporate job in Dubai. And I think that's our small little world, and that's what represents me.
Very nice. Thank you for this introduction, of course. To be honest, this is the first time somebody has brought in family while introducing, so I'm glad that you did. I was also in a great corporate job, earned a lot of money. Um, but the things were that, that I and my husband decided that I will run the house and he will do the big things, right? So running the house in a metro city with two grown-up children, with studying abroad and all those things are also not easy, but it takes a lot of money as well. But the big things always have more attention. Buying a house, buying a car, buying this and buying that. Though men of today in the modern world, like my husband, always tell me that what's the difference? But in my brain, in my head, there is a difference. I still feel that I was not contributing in a way that, that it's something that he has created. I have only kind of helped him in the journey. Yeah, that's it. So do you also come across women who have great earning capabilities, power, but still feel their contribution is not enough? It's not about how they are made to feel, it's about something that we have in our own head.
100%. I'm glad, in fact, Archana, that you asked this question, because I do come across women of, with a similar feeling a lot of times as a part of my Moolah program, where, women have come from, I mean, of course, there's a huge amount of social conditioning which goes into all this, because all of us as women are told that, oh, you are the nurturer, you're the people who are going to be taking care of the house. You need to, the men of the house are going to take care of the finances. They're going to take care of the bigger life goals, financial goals, and you'll be taken care of. But somewhere, I mean, so while we all live in that land, la la land, that we'll be taken care of and somebody's there to protect us and take care of us financially, there is a little bit of that, what you said, that itch or that feeling of, incompleteness, or I am not getting the right word for it, but it's like a feeling of, oh, I haven't reached there, or I haven't done my bit to this whole financial thing. And you feel, I don't know whether it's insecurity that's coming in, or it's more to do with you feel powerless in some way. You feel that, oh, that's not my domain, that's something I don't understand. So you're not in a very comfortable position, because of that. Like, I'll give you an example. One of the Moolah women actually said that, we have a financial manager and an advisor who's doing everything for us, but when I have to talk to him, I don't know what he's speaking. I don't understand his words, and that makes me feel, so ashamed of myself in some way, that I want to learn just to be able to even communicate, because it's my money he's handling. And he's handling my money, and I don't understand what he's talking about.
Yeah.
So I think it's a lot to do with your own feeling of insecurity, and a little bit feeling of, I won't call it, it's not guilt. I'm not still getting the right word for it,
But
but
is this a conditioning? Is this a conditioning?
Probably, yeah. So it kind of, women do feel insecure about the fact that their husbands are taking care of their family and they are not contributing enough, like you said. So yes.
So what do you actually tell? Because you are a coach who are helping women to feel better about their financial strength. So what would you say here to women like me?
So I think the whole idea, Archana, at the end of it is that when you have the knowledge, you get confident. And when you have the confidence, then it's your choice. Right now, a person who doesn't understand money, or doesn't understand finances, doesn't come from a position of choice. They feel dependent because they don't know it any other way. They don't know how to manage money. They don't know what to do with the money. So they are dependent. But once you become knowledgeable, you become aware, you come from a position of confidence to say, I can handle it, I understand what it is, and it's my choice that that person is doing it for me, because I'm doing something else. And that's a huge difference from a feeling of, dependence and giving away because of a lack of choice, right? So I think that's what happens. And that's why when a lot of women come to me, I tell them that let the men keep doing their work. They're doing, they're taking care of you and your family. That's fair enough. But at least start understanding it. And we've seen during COVID times, and because of all this life is uncertain.
Yeah.
And, God forbid something happens, will you be able to take care so I talk to a lot of women. I say, do you have access to your finances? When I talk to them, it's like, fine, you have enough money, your husband's taken care of, but you know where the bank accounts are. Do you know how to operate your bank accounts? Do you know where the mutual funds are? Do you know what the life insurance is? Do you know how to contact that person? So who where the life insurance is, or whatever. Do you know where your health insurances are, or any of those things? So what happens is we all believe that everything will happen, right? There's somebody to take care of us, but things can go wrong. And it's always good to, in that case, have that security that yes, I can and I will be able to handle it if something happens.
Yeah, in fact, there was this one video that I have just very recently done, because there were some friends of my, some friends who lost either their dads or their husbands during the course of COVID, unfortunately. And then they didn't have any idea what papers they had signed, what documents existed. Because if we are given something to sign by somebody in the family, we just sign it in trust.
Yeah.
We don't even read what we are signing, what is the signature required for. So I know of cases where there are still things unresolved. Also, there are things that probably we have lost because maybe there is some money, something, some investment still somewhere. But because of lack of complete knowledge, there is no way to check, and there is money gone on the drain. And especially women who are not working, or they were taking care of the family, and who need money the most right now. It's a sad situation, right?
Yes.
And I'm sure
So
that
what you said was, in fact, what you said was that women sign without knowing what they're signing. And I often use the quote saying, tell me where to sign. So that's what the story of every woman is, right? Like, just tell me where to sign. And they like blindly just sign it thinking that, oh, somebody has read it. But the fact is, and just today I was talking to somebody just before our, podcast right now. And this lady said that there was a lady who was working all her life. And you won't believe that she bought a house in, and she took the house and she gave her husband's name to it. So she kind of put her husband as the owner of the house. And 20 years later, when she was going through a divorce, she was not entitled to the house that she herself purchased.
Just imagine.
So the fact is that, and of course, the other thing that you mentioned was that, there's so many bank accounts which are unclaimed today, or there's so many insurance policies which are unclaimed today.
Absolutely.
Because people have no idea that, they were beneficiaries of those insurance policies or those bank accounts. So yes, that is a fact which, and I mean, imagine the men have actually earned, taken so much of their life and earned that money for us, and we have no way to access it because we have no idea about it.
So the reason that these are not something which is normal or regular is because, like I said, there could be conditioning of women not asking. The complete finance topic is a taboo. If women are asking about it, it seems like, oh, what's my vested interest? Why is she asking? She won't even understand what will I tell her, things like that. So how do we make these kind of conversations and information accessible? What should one do?
The only way is, I think the only way is to get literate. Because what happens is, imagine if you've understood something and you come from a position of knowledge, the other person has no choice but to listen to you. Because then you're making sense. And when you are making sense, then people will sooner or later listen to you. And the only way that can happen is by increasing your knowledge and getting literate financially.
So, what is your recommendation when women are asking you that should I have my own corpus or should it be a joint corpus with my husband or partner?
So I always tell women that, you must have your own corpus. It doesn't mean that you don't need to have a joint corpus. So very recently I was talking to some, a young couple, and very interesting thing they said that, so both were earning, the boy and the girl both were earning, and they said we have my money and our money. So each of them have their own money which they use for whether they're investing it or they're spending it or they whatever they're creating out of it. And then they have a joint account where the family expenses or whatever the financial goals for the family are taken care of through that. So I think that's a very interesting way of kind of juggling your money, to say that fine, as a family you put in your money, but you must create your own purpose. There is no way that a woman should not have her own money.
But tell me something, this is another observation that I have. When a woman is not working to earn, in the sense that she's looking after the house, of course, a very underestimated kind of work, which is there to look after home. So they receive some money to run the house, right? And there was of course, it was a very something that really sparked something in me when one of my cousins asked, so what about women to get pocket money for themselves? They're running the house fine, but why don't women get pocket money for themselves? And I said, yeah, actually, it's just not a norm. Do you think that that is something that one should speak about and get the house in order to say, okay, this is the house money, but there is some money that I also need from, my own well-being, my own comfort, my own trust, my own protection?
100%. I think that's a beautiful thought that you've actually, talked about and brought it to the forefront. I mean, a lot of women will even shy away from saying that, "Arey, mujhe to kuch nahi chahiye, mera to sab kuch, it's all the family, whatever I do is for the family. I have no such requirement." But there's no point kind of, always making yourself the martyr.
Yeah.
There is, it's not such a, it's not such a great thing to always call yourself a martyr. And I think, I mean, even if you go in an aeroplane, they talk to you about wearing your own oxygen mask first, right? So if you want to keep people happy in your house, in your home, you have to first yourself have that freedom, have that confidence, have that money, have that independence which is associated with money. And that will happen when you can call something which is your own, because that gives you a sense of security. And so absolutely asking, I mean, in fact, putting that, in fact, I talk about a lot of two sets of women. One is the women who've always been housewives. Second is a set of women who have turned into housewives after they've had their kids, because they've got to now take care of the kids, right?
Yeah.
Either way, that this discussion has to happen with your husband, that how will I be taken care of? Right? I mean, what is it in terms of financial security that is being given to me or being created for me to give up my job or take this as my role? And I mean, I often, in fact, give this example. So think about it, that obviously you're a woman, and your work is to take care of the family, and suppose you're the one who's cooking, or you're getting your, even if a cook comes and he's cooking, and somebody asks you, so what's made for dinner? And you say, oh, I won't tell you. Will you do that? Will you do that? That no, I won't tell you. No, you won't. You'll tell the husband that this is being cooked and this is good for health, and that's why I've cooked it. And right, so you're giving him full information about what you've cooked in the house, because that's your role, and he's going to be the user of that food, and so he needs to know. It's the same thing about money. If he's taking care of the money and you're going to be the user of that money, you also need to be aware of how and where that money is, and how it's invested, and how it's going to benefit you, and how it's creating your security. So I don't think women should really shy away from that topic to say that, they can actually demand it from their husbands, that this is something which is rightfully my ask, which I need to be informed about, of how my security is being created for me.
It's coming to a point when there is no choice left but to be an equal world. We are talking about creating inclusivity, equality, equity. These things are for real. It's not a stereotype going to be that man will only do this and a woman will only do that. Then what's the point of so much of discussion? I think it has to be so. Like my husband cooks more than I do at home. In fact, my house, my everything is done up by him. So all the interiors or exteriors he looks after, like literally, because he's so creative. And I feel that, okay, he's so brilliant in this, so fine. But at the same time, yes, I need to be an equal contributor as far as, planning things ahead, whether it's for us or for kids or for, our life ahead, whatever. And I think that's all that women need to know as well, that, we need to be an equal contributor in whatever we are doing then. And I think that point really gets missed out. But I think that point also gets missed out because there is no discussion about managing money in school. And I just feel that that's the foundation. And I see your brilliant work of now doing financial workshops for kids. Talk more about them. Please tell me, what you're doing there.
So yes, that's really, heartening. First thing, true that schools don't teach you finance. Okay. And the reason probably for that, I always think that the reason for not teaching you finance in school is that if everybody becomes the learned, then who's going to make the money? Right. So there is a reason to not make everything known to everybody. However, the world is changing, right? So now knowledge is something which becomes a unifying force, that we now, all of us have the knowledge. Now tell me who is going to play the game, right? So it's upmanship after you have the knowledge. Right. So yes, I now do a lot of literacy courses for these kids who are 8 to 12, 13 to 17, 18 to 25. So I have these groups of, sessions which I do for kids. And I'm actually also currently doing sessions for IDFC First Bank's wealth customers kids. So that's very interesting. And it's beautiful to, yeah. So that's really nice. Yeah. So I'm like their partner of choice for that. And it's very beautiful, Archana, to see these 8 to 12-year-olds. I love them. They have so many questions.
Really?
It's like, ma'am, continuously, they have so many questions about small things. Why do I need a loan? What if I don't pay back my loan? What if I don't, if somebody accesses my bank account? So, the kind of questions, they come so innocent, so beautiful. And the awareness is also so high nowadays. So it's really nice and heartening to see that kids are, and not only kids, parents are now trying to see that their kids get financially literate. So it's heartening. And I think it's really the right time, because what happens is kids also teach their parents, which is beautiful. So a lot of times, so I'll give you an example. So what happened was, I was doing a session, and before that session, I was preparing myself, and I was talking to my partner. I said, I want to talk a little bit on financial planning, and wills was a part of it. Okay, wills, making of a will. And she said, why do you want to talk to kids about wills? So I said, point taken. So then I said, but I must cover it because it's a part of financial planning. So I kind of turned it around when I presented it to the kids. And I told them that, listen, ask your parents how many of them have made wills, because it's so important. They need to set a guardian for you if something happens to them. And that stuck with the kids so much that the next time they came, they actually told me that, oh, ma'am, we asked our parents whether they've made a will or not. And that was beautiful, because in some way, it's kind of awakening the parents to say that, now our kids are enlightened, we need to start acting.
Yeah.
Like buck ourselves up.
Yeah, so I think this is commendable, because I think will is another thing that, we feel कि नहीं कुछ नहीं होगा, हम बड़े plan करके मरेंगे, जब हम मर रहे होंगे तो हम लिख देंगे किसको, so I think that is another thing that we must speak about. Even पहले, I remember that when I was like in our generation, like when we were growing up, the will was a completely taboo topic. Now that, oh, that means that I will die, your parents, or you're thinking, oh, I'm not going away anywhere. At least
Absolutely.
from there, I think we have graduated a little bit to think about like life is uncertain, boss. It is uncertain. So the way that we need to plan it. But do you think mindset has changed because now you deal with younger women, older women, working women, non-working women, young girls? So, what do you see as a transition for money?
I think the mindset is changing. It has not changed for sure. And in the changing also, there are nuances to that change, right? So it depends on which stage of life you are in. It also depends on what your circumstances are. And it also depends on, you know, a lot on your knowledge and your experiences. So like I just talked about the fact that for some women, financial freedom only means that I should be able to spend my money, right? So they haven't even got the whole perspective of what financial freedom means.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that it's saving, it's investment, it's thinking of retirement, it's thinking of how you'll optimally kind of
Yeah.
live your life throughout your life. It's about spending money today, but that's not what financial freedom is. So yes, the fact is that women are wanting to be financially free. They are changing their mindset. They feel that they should be independent, but they still don't have the entire spectrum of what independence really means.
So again, my question, then what should women do?
I will come back to the same answer, that understand that, and more than understand, change your mindset and take ownership. Ownership is the word. You have to be having ownership for your own life. Don't always think that you will be taken care of. No. The day you have responsibility for yourself and ownership for yourself, your outlook will change. And then the whole, this whole thought of financial independence will come from a longer term perspective. And that's where the whole, transition will happen.
Yeah. Yeah, lots to think about, of course. I think we also need a lot of financial coaches like you to make it possible, because sometimes you don't know where to go. So you don't know whom to ask. So I think women can empower women. Women who know can also, spread the word around, educate, give knowledge, hold sessions, specific sessions on different topics, like maybe mutual fund could be one topic, like even insurances could be another topic. What do you do with your money in the bank could be another topic, because again, the rate of interest keeps fluctuating very drastically, and globally now, because the money in the bank is only depleting. It's not growing anywhere. India is still lucky, I would say. Still, we get some money in the bank, but world over, it's well, I know my daughter in Amsterdam. Whenever we have to send her even fees for her education, anything in her bank over 1,000 euros, we have to pay interest on that. So it's like, in fact, we have to pay interest because there is more money in the bank. So like she keeps saying, no, don't send me more money, but then we have to pay your fees. So I'm just saying that there is so much, going on in the world, and also the currency has changed many faces. From, now getting into digital space to like, understanding what crypto is all about, to the Bitcoins and how that works. And I think it's a very humongous world of finance that I think which is ahead of us. So thanks for doing what you're doing, of course. And
Thank you so much.
keep up the good work, I would say. And I'm just again applauding you for doing work with kids.
Thank you so much. So I'll probably want to mention, since you're talking about the fact that the world of finance is so large, and it's like, it's because of the fact that, there's so much that there is there out there, that intimidation comes, that, oh my God, I don't think I can understand it. There's too much out there. And that's where, if I can tell you, that Moolah steps in. And the whole idea about Moolah is to make it really simple, fun, jargon-free, accessible, and palatable for women. So I call it like drip irrigation. What does drip irrigation do? That every day you switch on the sprinkler, little bit of water comes, sprinkles on the field, closes, end of story. Again, the next day, sprinkle a little, gets over. I also call it like a vitamin pill. What does a vitamin pill do? You pop a vitamin pill every day with discipline, and that's all that you have to do. After which, it's the work of the vitamin pill to take care of your, of your immunity. It's the same thought behind Moolah. So the whole idea about Moolah is in a very step-by-step manner, with only 2 minutes of your time every single day, you will get financially literate. And if you see the Moolah tribe women, you won't believe, Archana, that from the time when they begin and the Moolah journey, and they'll say, we don't understand anything about finance. We've never even looked at it. To these same women, 6 months later, talking about what happens because the Fed has now increased its interest rates, or it's now the interest rates have gone down, and so how it's impacting their portfolio. They've been through this whole journey, and it's so heartening for me as a person who's been with them through that journey, to see them blossom and say that, oh, we can take charge of our money now, and we can take our own financial decisions. It's not about whether they know cryptocurrency or not. It's not about whether they know what's exactly happening in, why is the Fed increase its rates or whatever it is. But the fact that they've opened themselves to it. They're ready to ask questions. They're not anymore intimidated by something like that. And that's where the whole, the openness to accept and learn starts, learning starts coming in. And then there is no end to it, right? So that's the beauty of what I am trying to actually create.
I'm just intrigued again that, of course, women need to be knowing a lot of stuff. We should start with some education, of course, and know, because it's not taught anywhere. I think another thing that stops us is where to go. How do you actually start? What can I do in my life to, at least start somewhere, and ready for something like this? So what are your tips then?
So I think the first thing starts from, Archana, being mindful, to say that, okay, I need to build a nest egg for myself, or I need to start creating some security, financial security for myself. And once you have that thought in your head, you begin to start saving.
Yeah.
Okay, so what happens is, once that awareness building has happened, the next step is to start saving your money. And and like they say that every drop fills the ocean, and every leak in a bucket can empty it too. Right. So small things, like I say that, imagine like we'll go to a grocery shop, or we'll go to a departmental store and say, oh my God, this cream is so nice, let me buy it. This shampoo is so smelling so good, let me buy it. And then, are you going to use 2 shampoos together? Are you going to use 2 creams together? So many times you would have just bought the cream and then forgotten about it. And then what happens? It's like, 2 years later, you will come and throw it because it's expired, right? So many times we kind of do impulsive shopping and impulse shopping. Amazon, like people nowadays, every person is on Amazon. And I often tell my daughter that she also loves to shop for clothes and everything. And so I'll tell her, and she'll come, mom, I've got this, this is a beautiful dress. I said, okay, do one thing, put it in the cart for 2 days. Okay, and 2 days later, if you still think that you'll want it, then go and purchase it. And most of the time, she's even forgotten about that she'd put something in the cart. So it's a lot of impulse purchases that we land up doing as people. And when we come back, we've even forgotten that we bought it. So I think, and there is a very beautiful saying that which says in the financial world, which says that you have to make every rupee count. So you have to literally squeeze value of from every rupee that you spend.
Wow.
Which means that at the end of it, are you feeling happy after spending that rupee? Is it made a difference to your life if you spend that money? And if it has, so if you've enjoyed the experience, if you've enjoyed certain things, like, okay, if I'm going out for dinner, I've enjoyed that experience, and that's why I've spent that money. But don't do it out of just a sheer this impulse purchase, just because somebody else is doing it, or because I have nothing else to do, or just because I've gone on Amazon or something and I'm doing it, or I just want to I have a habit of buying Starbucks coffee all the time. I want to always have a Starbucks coffee. Think about it. Each Starbucks coffee costs 230 rupees.
Yeah.
And if you every day spending 230 rupees for 30 days, you're actually spending close to about 6,000 rupees. Right? And the same amount of money, if you put it systematically in a systematic investment plan into a mutual fund or something, your money will grow to become probably 50 60 lakhs over 20 30 years. So that same amount of money which you're frivolously spending, which you don't even know where it's going, it's not adding any value to you, if you just save and then systematically start investing in a mutual fund of once you obviously understand which is the kind of right mutual fund, start investing in it. And lo behold, let me tell you what Warren Buffett started investing at the age of 9. For a lot of people who say, "Arey, abhi to we are not earning, or we are too young, our parents are doing things for us." For all those people, start putting your money as early as the age of 9, 10. If you start, even for your kids, if the moment your kid is born, you start creating a SIP for your kid, and create, systematically start investing your money for your kid. By the time that kid grows up into an adult, he or she has a good corpus of money.
Yeah.
And it's like creating a nest egg for your kid, right? So you're giving him or her security, and that's a huge as a parent. So I think we undervalue the fact that it's every drop is really capable of filling the ocean. So yes, start small, start investing, and not investing, start saving first. And then I think another tool which is very important is budgeting.
Yeah. So
very, very important tool is budgeting. I mean, if one starts just being aware, and there's again another saying which says budgeting is telling your money where to go rather than wondering later where it went.
Yeah, intelligent.
Right. So if you can tell each rupee of yours that where it has to go, then you've like allocated it to the best resource wherever it needs to. And that's exactly what budgeting is.
So, that's what surprises me sometimes, that we handle the complete budget for homes, right? And whatever's going on with grocery, with other shopping, necessities, etc. And then women are turned to be like, okay, you're not good in finance. So I'm just saying we're managing the core of everything, isn't it? So
yeah.
So
I think very well put and very rightly put, Archana. The fact is that women are managing that sphere of finance, right? But if you look at a 30,000 feet perspective of your own family, of your own house, what all goes in it? There is not just the grocery and the rent and the kids thing, right? There's a larger amount of things which have to be managed in terms of the money. And the fact is, women are kept out of the larger picture. Within that smaller picture, they're doing a very efficient job, but they don't have awareness. Like you said at the very beginning, right? That, oh, I'm taking care of my family, the day-to-day needs of my family, but house or bigger financial goals, I'm not a part of it. It's the same thing. When you don't have that 30,000 feet view of how the entire thing looks like, then you're only micromanaging a small part of it, but which you are very efficient. And I'm sure and that's the reason I say it's really common sense. And that's one reason I again say to all these women that if you can manage your small house expenses, you can definitely have a understanding of how to manage the entire family finances, and then even your a company's finances and the country's finances, because it all has the same the nuances or the threads to it are exactly the same. So if you can actually be the finance minister of a country if you can manage the finances of your home.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. This is a Second Act podcast, and Second Act is literally what you're doing in this part of your life.
Yes.
But if I ask you this particular question, what is your second act? How would you define it?
So I think this, again, beautiful question. I love this second act as such, the name. It's such a, it's such a powerful
Yes.
name to give yourself, to say that everyone can have a second act.
Yeah.
It's not what you're born with that you're going to be dying with, right? And we can all have a second act. And somewhere in your life's journey, that transition does come to you. That opportunity of that transition does come to you. And if you are willing to grab it, then it can happen. And for me, I think that happened when I shifted to Dubai, or when I became an empty nester, or because I, no longer wanted to work in a corporate job in Dubai, because, you kind of, being a woman and being in a different country, you kind of get back into, you take a back step even in your career when you join a corporate. So because all those things, and because of the fact that I knew I had 30 years or 40 years of my life ahead of me, and for the fact that I wanted to do something for the women of my, and kind of do something to give back to the society, I think all these things for me transitioned into me starting Moolah. And that is my second act, really, where I left my corporate job to become an entrepreneur, left my mom role to become now a mentor to so many women around the world, left my underconfident person, a person who is like always thinking that, oh, others know better, and, those kind of things, to becoming that person who now has the confidence to say that I know what matters to me, and I know what I want out of life.
I think more and more women need to hear this. However much that we work on ourselves every day, there's always this lack that we feel about ourselves. And you're right. I think this power in the voice, the confidence that we start feeling, only comes with, I think, more and more work that we do on ourselves, and the impact that we are able to create from that work for other people. And I think that's the testimony of, who we become eventually in our second act. So thanks for sharing that. And I want to wrap this up with some beautiful one-liner questions. I call it the rapid fire round without the hamper, but there it is. So what's your relationship with money?
A feeling of abundance, that it's always going to be there for me.
One thing that literally you've come out of, in the sense of like, one thing that you always felt not good enough or could work on it.
So what I've come out of, right?
Yes.
So like I said, from being that person who always thought that others knew better, from not being that confident person who thought that, I think, like I said, others knew better. From that to knowing that I know better. I have to be in control and in command of my life and my situation. So that's changed for me.
What are you still working on?
What am I still working on? On my insecurities. I think each of us continue to have, whoever we are, we always have some insecurities, some fears, which we, continue to have deep inside, which you have to work on a daily basis. So I think, small insecurities, but yes, I do have them, and I continue to work on them.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. One fun thing about you.
I'm actually a very fun person. People might think that I look to be more serious, but
No.
I don't. Okay, for a lot of people, if my daughter would say that, Mom, you're too serious. But, in my heart, I am a very fun person. And I want to make life happy and fun for everyone. So I enjoy, doing things and just laughing everything off and saying, yeah, it's like life will happen. Let's not worry about it.
If you got a lot of money, what would you do? Billions, trillions, boxes full of money, what would you do?
Frankly, I don't need lot of money for myself. So beyond a little what I need for myself, I am the person who will have my oxygen mask, won't wear my oxygen mask first. So I will take a bit of money to see that I'm taken care of. And thereafter, the entire thing is for the rest of the world for me to give.
Very nice. So one last thing before you go, what do you want to tell us?
Considering that I'm on this podcast of Second Act, I think it's important for everyone, whether women or men or anyone, to say that whichever space you are in, the day you want to change it for yourself is your second act. So I think that ownership has to come in you to say that I am ready to change and I'm ready to move, to take life head on. And that day, when you've taken that charge, is your second act. And I hope that everyone around and all the viewers and listeners can have their second act, because it's truly empowering.
Thank you for summing that up in such a beautiful way, I have to say. It's just what I exactly say, that there is the next step where you are ready to discover something new is your second act. And you don't have to stop something to discover something. You continue and you evolve. And I think that's exactly what, you said. So thanks, Meeta. And I feel empowered talking to you. I feel that, yes, though I'm doing some things, to at least be knowledgeable enough now and to be very mindful of, money. But I think there's always so much to learn, and I will join your cohort very soon. So thank you for bringing that. And to many more women, please join Moolah. And here we have an incredible person who is ready to give. Let's just take it.
Thank you so much, Archana, for first of all having me on this show, and thank you for all the wonderful work that you're doing, because I think this is really powerful for you to bring it on to and bring it upfront that there are women like all of us, and there are people like all of us who have reached this, who have created a second act for ourselves. And I think if we can influence even one person to make a change in their lives, then we've made a difference. So more power to you too.
Thank you so much. And of course, see you in the cohort.
So this is yet another incredible episode of Discover Your Second Act. I'm hoping that as me, you are feeling very, very excited, enthusiastic, and learned about all the nuggets that came out. So follow us on Spotify, YouTube, Apple, and of course, until next time, keep discovering your second